everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Discovery Pod with Eve. We've got an amazing show today with a legendary actor. Joining me today is my co-host and my friend, Melissa Smith.
Hey.
Melissa actually started modeling when she was 7, and she got into acting when she was 12. She did a lot of local commercials and plays in the Seattle, Washington area, but she decided to get married and have a kid. But the acting gig actually hit her in 2020.
Again, yeah.
And most recently, she relocated to LA. So I'm so glad and happy to have Melissa here with me. Melissa,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you.
Tell us something that even I don't know about you.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I used to be a gymnast.
Wow.
I was a gymnast and I grew up doing ballet. I was on toe shoes by the time I was 3.
Wow.
I was taught by a very, very, very distinguished Russian ballet teacher. He also worked with Baryshnikov back in the day.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if anybody remembers Catherine Hellman.
Yeah.
She used to be on Soap. She was the redhead. She was also on Who's the Boss? He was also her teacher.
Wow.
So, yeah, those are some things people don't know.
Oh my God, incredible. I'm learning something new about her every single day. And I thought I knew you.
Yeah.
You know, I was just looking back at all of the things that you and I have gone through over the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I are all about positivity and putting out positive vibes out in the world.
Yep.
What are some of the things that, you can advise anyone who is going through any type of struggles?
Oh my gosh. We all go through struggles, I think, every day.
Yes.
And that's the thing with the world today. There's so much negativity in it. And all we can do is try and look around it as much as we can.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of things I've tried to program myself now. If I encounter, a rude person, anything like that, I don't know what kind of day they're having. I don't know, what they just got told or what they've been through. Did they just lose their job? Did they,
Yeah.
So I try and think it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's just something, and instead of getting angry, because I used to get really irritated with people.
Yeah.
But now I'm just trying to woo-saw it
Yes.
a little more, have a little bit more woo-saw in the world.
Yeah, I
if we could
love
say,
it.
And just try and be as positive as I possibly can and surround myself with positive people.
Of course. And I preach that every single day. I
Mm-hmm.
think you know this.
You do.
When you first stayed with me, I was like, Melissa, get rid of all the toxic energy.
Yes, you did.
And put in positive people.
You did.
So, are you ready to introduce our legendary actor
I am.
who's
I'm
been in
so excited for
literally everything?
He has.
Oh my God.
He is.
He started acting when he was a kid.
Yeah, about the same age, around 12 years old. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So go
And our
ahead
special
and
guest today,
introduce our guest.
I am so excited. It's my friend Rico E. Anderson.
Ooh.
Welcome, Rico. I am so excited that you are here with us today. Thank you so much for coming in. I mean, you've been a huge staple in the mainstream, in indie theater film scene in the San Francisco area. You're the founding member of the African American Shakespeare Company and performed traveling theater for over 5 years. I never would have thought that.
I've done a lot of
traveling theater and Northern and California performing for Pure Educating Children and Health and Safety in 4 major productions. You've just done everything. You've done, some of your TV is SWAT, FBI International, the Orville, Star Trek Renegades, Modern Family, the list goes on and on. So I am so excited that you're here with us today.
Thank you. The way you were reading that off, I do feel legendary.
You should.
Oh, you should.
You should.
You are
legendary.
I appreciate that. Right?
It's incredible. So
thank
this is a great segue. Today is the last day of Black History Month.
Yes.
And there are so many people out there who are not familiar with Black History Month and the significance. So what would you like to share as an actor who's been in the industry for quite a while and you've seen the shift in the industry when it comes to representation, which I've heard you speak about. I've watched several interviews and you've talked about having representation, whether it's Black or it's brown or Asians, anyone. So knowing that today is Black History, and I can't believe it. It's the day you actually joined us,
Right?
So tell us.
What a coinkydink. Yes.
I know, right?
But that's wonderful. Thank you again for having me. I'm very thrilled to be here and so honored to just have a wonderful conversation with you both. And I always say representation matters, and I'm very strongly adamant about that being said as much as possible. It's so important to have the type of person that as a child you could see on TV or in film and these days on the internet and be like, I can relate to that person in whatever way, shape or form. And because I remember when I was a child, there were people who I just gravitated towards, if for whatever reason, because of how they looked. And I saw that, and I've been wanting to act ever since I was 6.
Wow.
And so when I'm watching TV and I see someone who has my skin tone, has my hair, is doing what I've already said that I wanted to do, that's inspiration towards me,
Yes.
for me, I should say. That's inspiration for me. And it gives me hope that, hey, I could do that too, because I see them doing it and I see them being probably a positive role model and just someone who is very much out there and making it happen.
Yeah.
And I would say that in terms of anyone who is any person of color, anyone who is a representation of, say, like the LGBTQ community, women, and this is in front of and behind the camera.
Yep.
Because that representation just can't be in front of the camera. It has to be part of the decision-making process as well.
Yes.
And so with that said, you'll have more people to be able to bring in experiences and culture, whereas sometimes you may hear about it, read about it. Yeah. It may not always be true. It can also be very stereotypical. So it's good to have that representation behind the scenes where you can be like, this is actually how it goes, or this is what we do, or this is what we don't do. And what you saw there, that's a stereotype.
Yes.
So it's just like, you want that to be able to just to show the world the way it is, the way it really is, and have that be the norm.
I agree with you. You know, it's one of the things that really struck me about you and listening to you over the years, just how you've talked about representation and having people of color, Asians, women. And it's incredible to see. It's incredible to watch. It's incredible to experience that. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say one more thing on it. I have been very inspired by a few people growing up. And I recently did another interview with Donnell, and we had some other guests there, and Rodney Allen Rippey was actually one of the guests.
Oh, he's so great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So great.
And what was cool about Rodney, I mean, Rodney's cool on so many levels, but what was just really wonderful about it was the fact that I remember when I was first going to events at the Hollywood Museum, and I saw Rodney there, and I was like, oh my God, that's Rodney Allen Rippey.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember Rodney Allen Rippey as a kid.
Yeah. Yes.
And I remember looking at this little brown-skinned kid with the afro.
Yeah.
And I'm a little brown-skinned kid with the afro. And I'm just like, we're the same. Yeah,
right?
we're two brown-skinned kids with afros.
Yeah.
You know?
Incredible.
So,
Like, I've
and that
made
was
it.
cool. Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that he was a part of was the Harlem Globetrotters show. And part of the intro was Rodney Allen Rippey, Take a Bow. And again, that representation of seeing someone of my age range and my skin tone and just my look, that was, I lived for that week when the Harlem Globetrotters came on, and I'm seeing Rodney Allen Rippey, Take a Bow, happen. I mean, things like that. It's just, and I won't even say the little things, but it's the things that
inspire.
There you go.
Yeah. So you started acting in San Francisco.
I did.
And you attended San Francisco University.
Actually, I started acting before that.
You did?
I
Okay.
did. Yeah. Well, I was very proud of our high school, which was very, very big in theater. We had the theater arts program like most high schools, but what was great about our high school was we were connected to the Berkeley City Hall, which is literally right across the street. So we had state of the art technology and we weren't performing in cafetoriums or anything like that. We were performing in this theater that had just all this amazing technology, not technology. I mean, lights and the light boards and everything. But we had a lot of stuff that a lot of schools didn't have.
Wow.
And a lot of it did have to do with the fact that Berkeley City Hall used the spot as well. But that also gave us access to be able to put on some pretty amazing shows.
Wow.
In ways that you would see professionally in a lot of ways. So that was really cool. And so I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of musicals and classic plays and things like that. And eventually it carried on once I graduated into doing a lot of theater around the San Francisco Bay Area and going to San Francisco State and majoring in theater arts there and just taking it further from there.
So when did you know you wanted a place in this industry?
Oh, ever since I was 6.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This was something that I knew I wanted to do. It was just something about seeing actors perform. I saw an episode, or not an episode, I saw a touring production of The Wiz.
Oh.
And I was just blown away. Our school went on a field trip there and I was just blown away seeing from Dorothy to just everybody, the dancers and everybody. And I was mesmerized by seeing everybody perform. People dressed up, the lights, just this live action version of stuff that I've only seen on TV. And I believe that was my first play. My first play that I've ever seen as a kid. So I knew that was something that I wanted to do. And I knew that was something that I really wanted to pursue beyond just doing theater. And of course, that made me see TV in a different way. Right. And that made me see TV in a way where now I'm looking at it like I'm studying it. And I'm studying with people who are there and the stars of the shows and the different shows that were out and wishing I could be there and doing it myself.
Incredible. So, that's a good segue into the next question. So when you started, obviously, you majored in, theater art, San Francisco State. I used to live in San Francisco, beautiful city.
Yes.
Were there certain roles that you tried to avoid? And I say this because, any actor or when you're starting out, sometimes you get pigeonholed into certain roles and people look at you and think, oh, so you get pigeonholed into those roles because you're either African-American, Mexican, Latino. They expect you to play a maid or whatever it is. So did you try to avoid playing certain roles, or for you, because it's art, that it didn't matter and someone's starting out in the industry, you just want to work and make money?
Well, I'll tell you, for theater, I made a point of getting into different plays, a lot of classics, and playing the leads. I wanted to get into playing the leads. And what was beautiful about, say, like the African American Shakespeare Company, which I was one of the founding members of, it was actually created by Sherry Young, who had this vision back then when there were competing theaters, huge competing theaters already happening. And she was like, I want to create a theater company that tackled the classics, but tweaked it a little bit and just gave it a different type of story. Romeo and Juliet in the hood, Romeo and Midsummer Night's Dream on the beach. It's just like different things like that. Yeah. All Black actors, giving Black actors an opportunity to shine, play roles that I won't say that they may not have played in other theater companies, but giving them, basically saying, hey, if you're going to do a play with us, you are going to be playing, you are guaranteed to play a role that is either going to be lead or supporting, and it's going to be something that's going to show your talent
Yeah.
and show your talent in a great positive way. So it was to our advantage to really take advantage of that and to really tackle those. So the part of our what is the word? Our quote was infusing the classics with color.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I did make a point as I was getting into more film to not play certain stereotypical roles. Now, because of the stereotype of me and how I speak and me being light-skinned, there was already a thing where I wasn't being considered for a lot of the stereotypical roles that would just automatically befall amongst certain African Americans with
darker complexion.
Yeah. I mean, the thug, the
gangster,
the gangster, or if they want a loud sister, or just things like that. So it was. I think I did pretty good in that respect of not playing it, but I did want to be known for being a more well-rounded actor.
That's
in general.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you booked the role of Kelly Bogle on Star Trek?
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm a huge Trekkie anyway.
Okay.
So just playing that character was, I mean, it's Star Trek. It's Star Trek.
It's a classic.
I mean, that's a mic drop in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was an amazing feeling to book that then.
And it was cool because amongst Trekkies, that new Star Trek, which came, I think it was 2009, this was the make or break experiment, the great experiment of Star Trek, because Star Trek had already been off the air for for about 10 years. And so this was does Star Trek still have it?
Yeah.
Do they still got it? Well, let's find out.
Right.
And so it was basically like a Star Trek in the beginning, but with a twist. Takes place in an alternate universe. Something happened. But they brought in Leonard Nimoy to once again portray Spock.
Yeah.
And they set it in the situation where he's going back in time and he's basically at the beginning again. And so there were a lot of chances that were taken in that respect.
Incredible.
And playing Kelly Bogle was awesome because at first I wasn't sure what I was playing. And because they were very, you know how it is with auditions. Sometimes it's very hush hush. They'll give you sides that have nothing to do with the movie or the TV show.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're auditioning for Star Trek, or you're
Wow.
auditioning to be an Avenger or whatever. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was a lot of fun.
One of the things that I really admire about you that you've said over the years is you did this, or you're doing this for you, first of all, for your mother, for your family, because you want to be proud of your body of work, your family. Have you ever been in a movie where it underperformed, and how did you deal with that negative press?
So you're asking me, have I been in something that hasn't
Like if
had
something underperforms where there is a lot of, negative reviews and it becomes very challenging. Have you ever been in a situation where, it's, how do you sort of rebound from that, right? Where it's like you've got to rise above because that's expected.
Sure.
It's not everything that you do that's going to be a blockbuster.
Shake it off. Got to shake it off. You have to. You part of this business is ups and downs, and part of this business is you're not always going to have a hit.
That's true.
You're not always going to have that one hit that you swear up and down, this is going to be it. This is going to be the one, the role, the blockbuster. Sometimes it just doesn't go that way, and sometimes it does. And sometimes you may get a negative review or a bad review or what have you. You just have to kind of shake it off and just know that you're not gonna always please everybody. And as long as you keep going and just know that you're doing your best, then all you can do is continue on to the next one and do what you can to do better. Whatever that means in the bigger sense. Maybe you did do great, and maybe there's a critic out there who just didn't like what you did.
Yeah. You got to have a thicker skin in this industry.
You really do, because there's so many ways that the industry can bring you down if you let it.
Yeah.
And if you let a bunch of things discourage you or keep you from moving forward, then you're not serving yourself.
That's
correct.
You're not helping yourself in that respect.
So we all joined each other, you especially, but we all joined on the strike lines together. We were marching, we were picketing, we were doing all that. But, you were definitely an inspiration to a lot of people. And, how do you stay humble like that? Because you're truly, truly a humble person. And so easy to talk to and to get along with and become friends with. So how do you stay that way?
I feel like I have to keep things positive in an industry that can have a lot of negativity just based on people who can be haters, people who just don't know how to deal with the stress of what this industry can bring.
Right.
I just really try to keep it moving. Because again, we're going to have those ups and downs. We're going to have those moments, kind of like now as of this recording. It's very slow in the industry.
Yes.
And last year, it was virtually non-existent because of the strike. A couple of years before that, because of the pandemic. So there's a lot, and the aftermath of it, things slowly creeping back into production and all that. So there's a lot that comes with this business being challenging as it is. But when you have unexpected things like a strike that can happen at any moment. I mean, we kind of knew that it could possibly happen just based on the fact that contract negotiations were up and all that kind of stuff. But you expect the high possibility that it could happen, and you have to know how to roll with those punches. And I say that lightly because for a lot of people, it affected them greatly.
Of course.
A lot of people lost houses. A lot of people lost relationships. A lot of people lost a lot as a result of this strike.
Yes.
So it's not as easy as tough it up
for like 189 days. Was it
something like that?
Yeah, it was crazy how long it went on.
It was
over
nuts.
half a year.
It was crazy.
But we were there a lot. You were there supporting constantly on that.
Well, it's important. I mean, along with wanting to do this, along with wanting to be a part of this amazing industry, I knew that I had to fight for it as well, as we all did.
Of course.
Because this is our future. This is the thing that we've all wanted to do whenever we decided we wanted to do it. And in order to keep it, and in order to have the representation that we have within it, we got to fight for it.
Of course.
And we have to continue to be diligent about making sure that we're taken care of, making sure that we're getting paid like we're supposed to get paid.
Of course.
And that we're respected as actors and or producers or writers or directors or what have you.
Absolutely.
So you've achieved so much in your life.
Yeah.
And not too many people are fortunate to be working consistently. There are so many people out there who want to do this. You're still on this journey. Has it been worth it? Is this what you expected?
It's been worth it. It's been worth it.
Wow.
I've never wanted to give up. I've never wanted to quit. Consider, of course, I've thought about, well, what if I were to stop? How happy would I be if I were to stop? It's something I've wanted to do ever since little bitty Rico. Yeah. So it's like, why would I? For myself, I didn't want to let something hold me back from that.
So
to continue.
Knowing that you've always wanted to do acting from the time you were 6 and going to San Francisco State, did you ever think like, okay, if the acting thing didn't work out, maybe I would get into tech from the Bay Area, right? Right? I mean,
well, I tell you this: I personally never had a plan B.
Wow.
This is what you wanted.
This is what I brought. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, in my mind, I was like, we're bolting the back door.
Wow.
It's not gonna happen.
I love that.
I'm gonna do it or bust.
Wow.
I do remember that my mom, at the time that my mom was starting to realize, wait, this is not just a hobby for him.
You made it.
He wants to do it. Yeah. She did start to think, well, maybe you might want to consider getting into something that's similar to it, that has more of a guaranteed income as a result. And so she suggested broadcasting,
Wow.
to which I was like,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
maybe, and I ended up majoring in broadcasting for
Wow.
about 2 years.
Okay.
While still doing theater. So I never gave it up.
Wow.
But I wanted to kind of honor what my mom's wishes of at least trying it. And I felt like it wasn't taking away from what I wanted to do. It was actually adding to it because this medium is so many different things.
Yes.
What you both are doing. What we could all be, newscasters,
It's evolved.
radio.
Yeah.
Well, it's evolved. Well, it's always been there in terms of
yeah.
like radio and TV and things like that. And to me, it was interesting because I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. And it's actually kind of cool because it's not full on acting, but it is a form of a medium that we can all say that
Communication.
it's, yeah. So I did it. And then, but eventually I was like, I really want to do this full time. And so I stopped the broadcasting major, ended up majoring in theater arts full time.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So and the thing is, I'm jealous because you've got to work with Octavia Spencer. And that had to be
Octavia is amazing. Oh, she was awesome.
But due to that, what's your favorite thing? Do you like theater? Do you like movies? Do you like TV? What is your ultimate that is your love and passion?
Theater will always be the heart.
Wow.
Okay.
That will always be the special place in the heart moment for myself. I mean, if all of this went away, I hope it doesn't, but if all this ever went away, we at the end of the day can still have theater. Because the beautiful thing about theater is you can do theater on the doorstep downstairs in front of the building.
Yeah.
And you can have the stairs be the thing that separates you from an audience standing in front of the building watching. You could do theater on the corner. You could do theater in a swimming pool. I mean, you could do it anywhere. I don't know where I got the idea of a swimming pool, but here we are.
It's possible.
Right, I know.
Yeah,
Right.
write that down.
I know.
Let's put that out there and put one of those backyard swimming pools.
Yeah,
on the
let's
stage.
let's
See how that
patent
goes.
this real
Theater
quick.
is hard.
Yeah.
Theater is very hard. It's hard, but I think it's great training. So
Yes, because you were in.
I was in
It's the best training.
Yes,
A Streetcar Named Desire.
Okay.
Yes.
I
All right.
did it for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
You saw what I
long
went
running.
through,
Yeah.
right?
And
It
it's-
was
it's a
every
lot
single
different
day.
Yeah, yeah.
In movies and TV, there is no cut. There is no.
There is no cut. If
But
you mess
excellent
up,
training,
you gotta,
right?
Perfect training. Yeah, because you don't know what's going to happen while you're up there doing your thing.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
don't
Just gotta
know.
roll with it. Gotta roll with
Somebody's going to go up on a line.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get back. Something fell. Of course, you pick it up. The lights don't. I did a
It's
play.
incredible.
Yeah, I did a play in Oregon, and it was during the snow.
Ashland?
No, I didn't do Ashland. This was the Red Door Theater project in Oregon, and wonderful theater company. And we did a play called Evolve, and we were doing it. I can't not remember the name of it. Was like the Lighthouse Theater or something like that.
Wow.
And it was a huge rainstorm, big rainstorm happening, and the transformer in that area was in jeopardy of going out.
Wow.
And we were told that during the performance, it's possible it could go out because apparently Oregon has had these issues before.
Yeah.
So, say it with me, it went out.
Yeah, it went. Yeah,
it went out.
Yeah, of course.
But what it did was the whole building didn't go out. Like parts, you know how like parts of something will be like, this is working, but this is not. So long story short, the transformer started to go out, and eventually it got to the point where we just had the emergency lights on, and we're doing the play.
Yeah, you're still going.
show must go on.
The show must go on. This is the epitome of it.
Yes.
But here's how dope this was. So we are sitting up here in the theater with the emergency lights on, and thank God the lights were hitting the stage at just enough of an angle where it almost looked more like a spotlight.
Oh my God.
And we were able to continue on.
Wow.
But here was the problem. The lights were still on upstairs, like in the balcony area, but then that went out. And it was almost like lights were slowly going out. And then they were out. But then the emergency lights were on, but now the emergency lights are slowly going out.
Oh my God.
They went out upstairs. Then they went out in the lobby. Then they went out in half the dressing room. Next thing you know, we're all dressing in the main lobby of where the dressing rooms were downstairs. Meanwhile, upstairs on stage, I think we had 2 emergency lights that were still on.
Wow.
One was flickering, so we already knew what that deal was. It was about to go out.
Yeah.
Wow.
We are getting close to, we got to intermission. We ended up, that's when they were like, are we going to continue? Is this, can we do this? They were like, let's continue. And show must go on. So we did it. We got to, and the play was a bunch of monologues. Okay.
Wow.
So I was the last monologue. We get towards the end. You can't write this. We are at one emergency light hitting stage left. For people who don't know what stage left is, if you're looking at the stage from the audience, you're actually looking to the right. But to the right is our stage left when we're on stage. So the actor who was, the last 2 actors that were supposed, or the last 3 actors who were supposed to perform, were like, I guess we're performing stage left in that one little spotlight. That spotlight started flickering.
Whoa.
Next thing I know,
oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
the stage manager decided, I'm going to turn on this flashlight.
Wow.
And,
I love it.
And before the flashlight, he used his cell phone light, and it was nuts. It was nuts. So it got to the point where they ended up having to stop the show.
Wow.
And I ended up not going on. But the next day I went on.
Wow.
But
You should have just held your light under.
I know. I was like, I could do that.
Just do it.
It became a safety thing.
But what a
after
great
while,
story, right, for anyone out there.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a major show must go on moment over anything else that I've experienced.
to roll with it.
You got to roll with it.
You
do.
It's incredible. Basically,
It was so much fun. It was so
good lessons learned
say the
for
least.
anyone who's trying to get into this industry. That hey, sometimes you just got to go on and do it, regardless, right?
And do what you can to make it happen. Don't do nothing illegal, but make it happen.
Oh my
Make
goodness.
it happen. Find a way. And this is one of the great things about this industry. There are no rules. There are no set rules in this industry. If everybody in this building is like, I want to be an actor in this industry, I want to do it. Great.
Yeah.
And sure, we audition, we get the headshots, we take acting classes, we get an agent and all that. That's all pretty much norm.
Yeah.
But how a person becomes successful can range from so many different things.
Yes,
it could
of
be
course.
from the big role that they booked, or it could be, it could
You
be
just
anything.
never know, right?
There are no set rules in this industry. People
I
have made
like
it
that.
on so many different levels. And then what's the definition of making it? For some people,
That's different for everybody.
Question.
It's different for everybody.
That's a great question. So that's a great segue because Melissa touched on working with Octavia on Apple TV.
Yeah.
You lived in San Francisco, and I lived in San Francisco. It used to be a beautiful city, and your show on Apple TV, Silicon Valley, spotlighted a lot of the issues in San Francisco. It's not that city that it used to be. How did it feel as, your character? You're a biker, right?
Right.
And Herbie. I love that.
Just spotlighting some of those issues, bringing it to light. For me, knowing that it's a city that I used to love, I thought it was incredible to tackle those issues.
Well, thank you for that. This show was created by Nichelle Tramble-Spellman, who's a dear friend of mine and someone who I more or less grew up with in the city of Alameda, which is right next to Oakland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I say more or less because we didn't grow up as together as kids, but as we were older, we didn't live too far from each other. Wow. And but I knew Nichelle, her husband Malcolm is one of my best friends,
Nice.
and he was one of the associate producers on the first season of the show of Truth Be Told. And Truth Be Told is based on a book by Kathleen Barber. And what was beautiful about what Nichelle did was she took these characters who, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, you really don't know if they're black, white, what have you. Yeah. But she was like, we're going to set it in Oakland. We're going to have this black biker bar, which is a thing in Oakland. And it's a huge culture. The black biker clubs out there is a huge culture, which is something that a lot of people don't know about. It's well known, but it's not like out there know.
I didn't know about it.
Well, now it
Living
is.
in San Francisco. Yeah.
Right. And so when you, in the name of the Black Biker Club in Truth Be Told was the Capstones. And so I was a member of it. I was one of the people who also on the show ran the biker bar, The Knock. And so it was definitely an opportunity to tackle issues within the Black community, issues within communities that are not represented well in terms of government corruption and a lot of issues with police and things like that. And of course, in our last season, we dealt with young girls being kidnapped and sex trafficking and things like that. And what was great about the last season and what it tackled was, and I don't know the percentages, unfortunately, but I know it's very low when it comes to the number of Black girls being kidnapped and trafficked and it not being reported. National news, because you'll have, and it look, at the end of the day, everybody should be getting that treatment when it comes to somebody being in that situation.
Regardless of your skin color.
Absolutely. But the news does and continues to this day cater towards the pretty white girl.
Of course, it's true.
Right.
You're right.
But meanwhile, there's a lot of Black girls who are missing as well. So the last season really did touch on that and just make it known that this is it's a universal issue.
It is.
And at the end of some of the episodes, if not all of them, if I remember correctly, there was a hotline that mentioned, hey, if you know basically if you see something, say something, or if you know definitely that there is something going on, these are numbers that you can call. And of course, if there's anything going on within the family, talk to your parents or try to talk to a trusted guardian or someone that you know. So
that's amazing.
Very, very powerful season in general, and very fun too because of working with Octavia, working with Ron Cephas Jones, rest in peace, the late great Ron Cephas Jones, but also working with Mekhi Phifer,
right?
You know,
you can't.
Wow.
Yes,
Yes,
he's done so many great roles.
Tracy Toms, who's from Rent and from Broadway,
what an amazing cast.
And worked with Quentin and Robert Rodriguez. I mean, Hanifa Wood and. Oh my gosh, Michael Beach in the first couple of seasons. And I mean, the cast list of legendary actors was just like,
well, you're part of that too.
And to be honored to be a part of that and to have that.
You are.
I was blown away when I got the part and to know what it was all about and just to be able to share that call sheet with those actors and chew up some scenery here and there with some of these actors. I was like,
framed on your wall, because I would. I'd have to see that.
I still got to get the frames. Not yet, though, but I already know what I'm going to put up.
I love it, right? Because we talk about surrounding yourselves with people who uplift you.
Yes.
It must have been incredible to work with such amazing talent. Like, it raises the bar.
I'm just so glad that everybody was cool, because you always get that thing of like, well, what happened to what happened that this person or was this person okay? I think my seat just sunk. Hold on.
You're getting smaller.
I know. All of a sudden, I was like, and then I said,
start kicking your feet.
Yeah. La, la, la. All right, Smurfs. So for people who don't know,
what are you trying to say?
Hey, I'm not saying anything. I'm neither confirming nor denying that the blue that you are wearing. No, I was not saying that.
Okay.
No, and I'm not just saying this. Octavia was just amazing to work with. She was leader of the pack, and she couldn't have been more generous with her, just being the type of person that she was. Just a very generous actor, an actor's actor. Cared about everything and everybody, from the main actors to the person cleaning up the studio when all was said and done. Not to say that they are someone small, but she really did treat everyone equally with respect. And she ran a tight ship, but she ran a really cool, fun ship. And you never felt ever on edge or anything like that. It was a wonderful time. Ron Cephas Jones. I cannot say enough about Ron in terms of just his process of acting and the rehearsal process. such a master class in
Wow.
in preparation
Yeah.
and knowing how to ask the right questions to enhance just the beauty of a character that you're already playing. I learned so much, and I miss him so much because
I bet.
he was just an amazing. Like we had a cool friendship outside of the show as well, and just again, an actor's actor. Someone Makai, been in the business forever, and just
Like you.
like me, but on different levels as Makai.
Well.
But I've definitely had my toe dipped in some stuff.
You've had some awards and all of that.
I've had a
right?
couple of awards. Yes, I
You've
have.
had quite a few, so
All
you
right.
got to give yourself credit.
Oh
as
no,
well.
I do, and that's just it's what makes working with a lot of these actors so wonderful, because now I feel like, in a sense, I have made it
You have.
to a level where I can say, hey, I'm chewing up the scenery with these guys, and I earned it.
Yes.
You
So,
did.
That's
you
it.
know,
You
so,
earned it.
yeah.
You worked your way up to earning that, and it's just amazing.
It
Because like
is.
my dream, I always wanted to work with Angela Bassett
Mm.
because I just love Angela Bassett. Who do you have one that you always want to, or have you already done that?
Oh, wow. Well, I at one point always wanted to work with Sidney Poitier.
Wow.
Which I unfortunately never got a chance to,
Wow.
but he's somebody. I still want to work with Denzel.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It will
There you
happen,
go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Denzel.
I want to work with Pacino.
Yeah.
I wanna
my
work with
God.
Al,
He
right,
would-
right. Give it up, give it up.
I will
He
fangirl
wanna
would
work
be,
with-
as they say, put
Yeah,
it out
yeah.
in the universe, and the universe is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to manifest itself.
Oh, yeah.
But you've made it, seriously, because
Thank
how many
you, thank
people
you.
can actually sit down today and say, well, I'm part of an iconic
Yeah.
franchise like Star Trek.
It-
So you've
yeah.
made it, right?
It's a
And
great.
you've got to celebrate.
Oh, definitely. It's a wonderful laundry list of I work with this person, that person, these people, this
Yes.
franchise. I look at my career and I feel blessed because of the things that I've done to push myself forward, the things that I've done to the extra stuff that I've done to take myself to certain levels to get myself in certain situations, like being in Star Trek, like working with people like Octavia Spencer and Ron, and just doing my best to be a good person, nurturing my relationships.
Yes, I was about to say you created relationships too with
Creative-
everybody. So
Yeah.
that's another great thing.
And having friendships even to this day from past projects that I worked with people on. So that's wonderful. And and I don't take anything for granted in this industry.
Yeah.
I don't look at anything as small, menial. I look at everything as it's supposed to happen. It's a blessing that it's happened. I'm very blessed to say that the 99% of the people that I've worked with haven't been bad people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we could go on and on. We are at the
It's gonna be
3-minute mark.
3 hours.
So we've got one last question.
We need a part two.
I know.
We need an interview part two.
We've got it.
Continuation.
So
Yes,
Rico,
yes.
if you would, just tell us, if you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead,
Okay.
who would it be and why?
Wow. Well, Mr. Sidney Poitier, definitely.
Okay.
I would. These on the spot questions. I tell you. I had the opportunity to meet and speak with Mr. Robert Guillaume for a couple of hours.
Nice. Wow.
But we didn't have dinner, and I would have actually loved to have just sat down, broke bread with him, and just continued the conversation. But I'm so blessed to have the conversation that I did have with him.
Incredible.
The third person, I would have to say, woo! Third person.
Denzel, I don't know.
Denzel.
Al Pacino.
Albert. I'm gonna break the rules and say Denzel and Al Pacino.
Love it.
Yeah,
There you go.
because I love the idea of just being able to just chop it up and talk about either anything business related or
Yes.
non-industry related.
Incredible.
But just to be able to have that conversation and just to because when I meet people, I always introduce myself as Rico Anderson, fellow actor.
Yeah.
And so while I do nerd out when I'm talking to somebody,
Rico,
yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
This has been incredible.
It has.
It's been
Hopefully we can all work on a
inspirational.
project
Yes.
together. That would
Let's
be
So,
do it.
everyone watching
On
us
the table.
today,
Manifestation. Yeah.
everyone watching us today, please follow Rico on his social media
Yes.
or his website, ricoanderson.com. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter, Instagram. So, Rico, thanks again. You're such an inspiration to
thank you.
so many people, not
Thank
just
you.
African Americans, to everybody. And I find you extremely inspirational. Thank you so much.
I appreciate
Thank
you both.
you.
We
Thank
love
you so
you.
much
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
Melissa, this was
has been
such a great interview.
Right?
Just to wrap up, I love what he's done.
He's
Just-
amazing.
He's incredible. He's done everything.
Yeah.
And he continues to do everything. Oh, we forgot to ask him what he's working on next.
Oh, we
There's got to be
did.
something that he's working on, right? We didn't get an opportunity to ask.
I know.
But we've got to have a part 2
We
with
do.
him.
We
so
should
we
have
can
a continuation
Yes,
with Rico.
to find
for
out
sure.
what he's working on.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's working on a bunch of different things.
This
so
was a fun interview. I had a blast with it.
everyone, thanks again for watching us. Please watch this episode on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us every Thursday on Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever podcast is available. Again, thank you so much for watching. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.